G'day, I'm Gavin from Hurley's Fly Fishing. If fly fishing is something you want to get into, you want to do a course with us. We'll take you up to New G and we'll teach you how to catch trout. $99, get in touch with us and we'll teach you how to be a superstar fly fisher. Yep. Whoa!
Here he comes. Yeah.
Whoa! Isn't it funny how a day pans out? G'day, I'm Gavin from Hurley's Fly Fishing and welcome to another episode of On the Fly. Today we're up on the Rubicon River, which is about an hour and a half out of Melbourne up towards Eildon. There's virtually, the Rubicon's 3 different stages of a river. Right up high, you're going to get much cooler flow, a lot faster, a bit more bouldery, and ideal water. We're in about the middle now, so it sort of flows through a bit of farmland, still got some really good pools, and lower on down towards the Goulburn, it sort of levels out a little bit as well. So you've got really 3 different types of rivers when you're talking the Rubicon. The middle sections have great pools around here, and you can just see as they meander through and do a few snake bends throughout. You've also surrounded by farmland, which to a fly fisherman in particular means there's going to be a lot of grasshoppers around as well. So we'll start off with our rubber leg stimulator, which looks like a grasshopper, and persist from there. We've also got a lot of willow trees, so at times you can get some really great willow grubs falling in here for some pretty sizable fish. I've got an 8-foot 4 weight here. Some of the fish you're going to get are going to be like 6 inches, but you can get them up to 2, 3, even 4 pound fish. So you want something with a bit of go in it. It's a stalker glide in that 4 weight at 8 foot to be able to cast in and under these trees. So we'll work our way up this river and hopefully we can pick out a few fish. Nice little pull here. We'll just get this rubber leg stimulator up to the top of that and let that drift down. They do like moving water, particularly as it gets hot. And they should be pretty opportunistic here. And you'll generally know within a couple of casts if there's a fish there and if he's going to eat it. At various times you might like to put a little beaded nymph underneath it. But just with this weather on, I'm just hoping that they'll come up to the top to get some grasshoppers. So I'll just stick with our dry fly and see if we can't get a fish to come up and grab that. Now with a lot of the casting, because we've got trees all over the place, we can't do our normal 10 and 2 cast because you put them up there. That's why we're using a shorter rod, 8 foot or even a little bit shorter you could use as well. But we're using a lot of just side cast to keep that line down low and under the trees and throw it up to where the head of this pool is, where the fish are going to be sitting, or our roll cast. And that just doesn't put the fly line behind us, just throws it up front and gets it up to where the fish are and hopefully in front of them. So just match your casting to your environment and you're going to get that fly up where it needs to be. Oh. There we go. And that's a lovely little fish that you're expecting on a lovely little run like this. Oh, and it just popped out, but not to worry. You've got a good bit of depth of water, so you're going to have cool. You've got a lovely little bubble line, and they'll just be sitting in there waiting for like grasshoppers or big caddis, which is what that rubber leg stimulator looks like. So that's what it's about, casting up there, getting a good drift, getting him to take it. Sometimes it's a bit better if you hang on to him for a little bit longer, but at least you got him to take. That's what it's about. Again, just to get under those trees, that side cast, get up as far as you can, nice drift back. You never know what's going to be up there. And that's what a lot of these fish are going to be eating, your normal little grasshopper like that. Got like dull colour, little bits of red through it. And they sort of give a bit of a kick, and the rubber leg stimulator just works a treat. So we'll put that up in front of these fish. There's a good little pool here, water cascading over a couple of different areas. So you've got moving water, it's going to be cold, oxygenated, and you've got a little bit of cover here with these trees. But I'll be looking to that deep water where it flows in there just on that slack side, and then over this side as well where it's cascading over there, a little bit of a rapid, and some good deep water for cover and could hold a fish and be first in line to get any food that comes over those rocks. So a couple of casts in there, and you'll know pretty quickly if there's a fish there, they won't resist. Don't be afraid to throw over. There is a log there, throw that over. Sometimes that fly will just work its way through. And that's the only time you're allowed to actually give that rod a bit of a wiggle. And that can sometimes just lift that fly over the top of that bit of wood and unsnag it. Every other time that wiggle of the rod tip just makes that knot harder to get out. But when it's just lipped over a bit of a tree, a little bit of a wiggle on that tip, can sometimes take it right off there and keep you out of trouble. Nice little fish, beautiful. And that's what you're looking for, even a short little run like that. It's only a couple of feet deep. And we might actually get this one in the net. And just a lovely little brown here. And that's what the Rubicon can be like. It's got a mixture of both browns and rainbow. And certainly persist with this deeper water, sort of knee deep and with a bit of flow, because that chills that up a bit. But even just there, you've got a nice little deflection where there's a bit of moving water, and it can certainly bring the fish and hold them there as well. So, and that rubber leg stimulator just looks like so many different items of food, and the fish just can't resist it. These are beautiful fish of a brown, so no red stripe. Get some lovely dots in a lot of these Rubicon fish. They're just a stunning little brown trout to get on a great dry fly. Just get that out. That's beautiful. That's why you do it. Great little fish like that. And like with all of them, put him back, let him swim out of your hands. Somebody else can come and catch that because it's an awful lot of fun. So pick your spots. Don't just go willy-nilly and just cast erratically. Look to where you think a fish is going to be. Concentrate your casts around there. And if you equate this type of fishing to golf, you know, if you get a big river, you're talking a really big long drive, this is your putting and chipping. This is really accurate next to trees, and work every bit of water, and hopefully you put that fly in front of a fish and he'll come up and take it just like that one. Now, northeast Victoria is just full of rivers like the Rubicon, and fisheries put a bit of time showing you with maps on what sort of fish are going to be there, where you can access it, how you can catch them and things like that. And they've put a lot of effort into enhancement works of the river as well, which is great. So they're really starting to look after the fish. So Rubicon, one of our fantastic rivers. We've also got the Stevenson and Akron and Goulburn all close by too. So base yourself in this area around Thornton and Eildon, and you'll have a lot of fun fishing. And quite often after you do catch a fish, that fly gets waterlogged and a little bit of slime on it. We'll use a product called Shake and Float, and it's a desiccant. And you put that fly in, give it a shake around, and that absorbs all the water out of it, makes it bone dry, ready to float as high as a cork. Lovely little deep water little run here. It's got about 3 fish rising. You can, good bit of flow of water there. Oh, actually there might be about 4 fish there. We might let this drift all the way through. There, oh, and pulled it out. There you go, frighten them one at a time. doesn't really matter, but it gives you something to aim at once you've got feeding fish like that. And we've put a couple of casts there, and it may have spooked them with the line or seen that fly a bit too often, but yeah, just a great little river. Particularly now we've got so few insects popping about and the fish up on top of them. You could also look to, there's a lot of little caddis, a bit smaller than what this is, that you could possibly look to swap to as well. But it's worked so far, so we'll persist with it because I love this fly so much. But if you do get stuck and it's a reasonable fish, it could be worth like sizing down for a smaller fly and covering those fish. There we go. Oh! Doesn't matter, just breathe, Gavin. Nice little run there, right beside the log. A little bit of a rise, get that up there. Took it first go, and they don't always stay attached. Anyway. Next one will. There we go. Oh, he's a good little fish there. We'd, after the disappointment of that one that just got off, just threw it up there. I'm not sure whether it's the same fish or not, but he certainly came and took it, and we'll get him in there. But that's, sorry for turning that camera off then there, but that's what it can be like. Just persist. If you've got a really good bit of water like that, you could just look up there and you've got movement, a lot of flow, good bubble line, and it could certainly hold a couple of fish. And he's a nice one, he's probably 1.5 pounds, and it's a lovely brown to get on that royal stimulator. So that's why you bother getting out to do it. Sometimes the casting can be a little bit hard, so you just persist with it, and it's going to pay off eventually. He's a lovely fish. And that's a typical, oh, sorry matey, a Rubicon brown. Just a lovely size, easily like, yeah, 1.5 pounds. And just perfect. Great fun on a little 4-weight fly rod. And you can use lighter ones as well, you get it in here. And yeah, he's certainly woofed that down, all the way down in there. Just get that out. Perfect. Beautiful. 1.5 pounds of lovely Rubicon. Brown. Good to go. Perfect. I think there's another one up there as well. Now, prime little area here is where the bubble line, those little white bubbles coming down from the shallow where it goes a bit deeper. A good holding lie for a fish, and it's got a bit of comfort protection against all these trees and debris there. So if something tries to get them, whether it be a cormorant or a cagey fly fisherman, they can duck in there and get out of harm's way. And right where these bubbles, where it hits that and bounces off, comes back here. All that food's going to be deflected to that one area. So the bigger fish would sit there and have that escalator bring all the food to them without using much energy. So a couple of casts up there, don't go too far straight up, cast at the back, work your way up, and who knows what you can pull out of a little hole like this. Oh! Well, he was where we thought he'd be, so. But on a fishing show, you need to get fish a little bit closer than that. Otherwise, it's not a very good fishing show. It always pays to stop every now and then, just have a look what sort of food's going to be around. You can see, I'm not sure if that comes up there, but that's a little mayfly nymph, and they live under these rocks for about 2 years before they swim to the surface, break out of that shell, live for a day, lay eggs and die. So yeah, I think it's probably more fun than what it sounds. But then you have like little ones like that. You can just see again little mayflies. various times you'll see others which are a little bit more grubby looking, a little bit thicker, and they're a caddis nymph. Then you have others which are stick caddis, and they've stuck on there, look like little bits of stick. But yeah, plenty of nymphs, and just means that the river's in pretty good nick at the moment. Plenty of food for the trout, which makes it such a beautiful river. Now, prime little area, as you can see there, where that water's coming in, deflecting all the food and main flow to the other side. You've got depth, and more importantly, on a day like today, in the top of Feb, we're going to get up to about 36 degrees. So fish, much like humans, like the shade and that cool water as well. So don't spend too much time in the big bright areas in the shallows. Get into where there's going to be some cool water, depth and shade, and that's where you're likely to find some fish. Whoa, a bit of tension on there, and that's good when you're expecting him to be into that area. It's good when a plan comes together, but you've got to just think like a fish a lot of the time. So pick out your spots where you'd imagine you'd like to be sitting with a deck chair in that water with the odd bevy, and that's where the fish are going to be. I just love that rubber leg stimulator. It's there's not many people that walk out of my shop without one of those in their hands, because it's such a such a good little fly. But the fish just love it, and makes it all worthwhile. So yeah, take a bit of time, pick out your spots, and you're going to find plenty of fish. And when we're talking about the flies that we use, particularly this time of year with a lot of grasshoppers, you can use something like that, which is a really good naturalistic imitator of a grasshopper. But what we tend to use, and what you've heard me talk about so often, is a royal rubber leg stimulator. And these are in varying sizes. In the smaller rivers, or if there's a lot of caddis, I'll tend to go down a smaller size, maybe a 16, but most of the rivers are 12 or a 14. It's quite a big fly, very easy to see, got a couple of colours through there, but these rubber legs certainly aid it, and it looks like something very inviting. The fish just keep eating it. So until they stop eating it, I'll keep casting it. We've got a couple of lovely fish just rising in this pool here. And it's always difficult to tell of the actual size of the fish. Quite often, even though that's only a very small rise, but quite often the larger fish are just very good at eating and conserving their energy. So they will be a very delicate rise at times. These slower pools are quite often harder though, because the fish gets a lot longer to look at your fly and the presentation, and it's a little bit more difficult, rather than when there is flowing water. You can hide some little mistakes. Not that any of us fly fishermen have got any. But they do tend to move around a little bit too, because they've got to find the food themselves, because it doesn't have the flow. So you just got to keep your eye on it and see where they're actually rising and try and get that fly in front of them. Oh, there he is out there. You can see the fish. Good set of glasses. You can just Polaroid the fish just under the surface. It's just over that other side there. And it does pay, the exciting part of fly fishing is to be able to see your fish. So with a decent set of glasses, I wear the Makos in the brown lens. I think they're the best, particularly for this kind of water, or even in New Zealand. I just think they're fantastic. A decent set of Polaroids will allow you to spot fish and target your cast to where the fish are. So yeah, get a decent set and you'll be surprised at what you can see. Here he goes. Oh, come on. Come on. Come straight over to it. So he was excited about the little plop, and then looked at it and there was just something not right. Another one, he's going to take it. Is it? Oh, no. So we've got two fish there, a smaller one in the middle. So they're both interested but not taking it. So that's the time. If he looks at it and decides not to eat it, you've got to change. You've got to change. I'm going to swap now to these fish to one of my favourites, which is called a dad's favourite in a parachute pattern. It's in a 16 and it's a very brown body, and that'll imitate like a little mayfly, which to a trout on the Rubicon's like a bit of Toblerone. They love that. That's our favourite fly on our New Zealand trips, like on the Mataura and Wakaya, and it'll certainly work here. But we've gone down a size because they've looked at the others and not eaten it, and hopefully this will bring them undone. Got it. Oh! A little one, well, when I say a little one, probably a pound. I could just see on the edge there, and he's raced over to get that rubber leg stimulator like it's a grasshopper just fallen in. Be a little bit too quick on the take then, a little bit, from seeing this big fish out here, just a bit toey. Nice little run here, coming into a pool with a bit of cover. Get that fly into some moving water there. Finally, there you go. Nice little one in there. And a good little spot. We'd been missing a couple. Not that it really matters that much. I mean, it's first world problems, I guess, isn't it? But been getting that fly up because it is a great fly, and I certainly do persist with it because it just works. But we'd had a few, I guess maybe there's perhaps smaller fish that can't get that fly in its gob and they're hitting the tail or the nose and just not hooking up. So at times you certainly feel like you've lost a bit of your mojo, but to get one again, you look at a nice bit of moving water near some depth, cover, shade, got all the things, ticking all the boxes, put a cast in there and get it to take. That makes it all worthwhile. You're going to let them all go anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Even on a hot day, it doesn't really matter whether you're catching them all, but yeah, just good fun to get one into the net. A lovely little brown, just about it's half a pound, 3/4 of a pound. I've got really big hands, but great fun to catch. Any fish on a fly is terrific, and on a, hang on mate, I'll get this out, and on a dry fly, just makes it exceptional. There we go. Beautiful little Rubicon brown on a hard day, nice and hot, makes it all worthwhile. Now when it comes to the gear, I wear literally the same thing all the time. I wear breathable waders. You still get quite hot. I mean, it's nearly 40 degrees today, so you're going to get a little bit warm, but you've got the protection against, you know, some wriggly sticks that you might come across as well. Decent set of boots. I wear the Sims with a Vibram rubber sole. You get a much better fit, and when you're doing a lot of walking, which is what you do in fly fishing, your feet are not barking at you at the end of the day. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episode on the Rubicon River. I think it's one of the most amazing rivers that you'll come across in Victoria, and it's literally an hour and a half out of Melbourne. So it's something worth going to. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. It's been great fun coming up here. Even though it's pretty hot, we've managed to get quite a few fish to take our fly. We haven't stayed hooked up to all of them, but most of them, it's given them the heart a palpitation anyway to get pretty excited, and we've got a few to the net, so it's been great fun. So hope you enjoy it, and I look forward to catching you next time on The Fly.